My mom forced me to marry her friend's daughter and then freaked out when I ran off and married my girlfriend. I always thought my life was pretty normal. At 27, I had a decent job at a marketing firm, a tight-knit group of friends, and a girlfriend, Mia, who'd been my rock for 3 years. She's the kind of person who lights up a room, sharp-witted, compassionate, with a laugh that makes everything feel okay. I kept our relationship quiet, mostly because my mom had this larger-than-life presence, always hovering over me like a storm cloud waiting to burst. But nothing could have prepared me for the bombshell she dropped during what I thought was just another family dinner. It was a Tuesday night, the kind where the air smells like roast chicken and routine. My dad, a man of few words, sat at one end of the table, while Mom, all energy and opinions, presided over the other. I was halfway through a bite of mashed potatoes when she said, casual as anything, "We should start planning the wedding soon." I nearly choked, fork clattering against my plate. Mia and I hadn't even broached the subject. Marriage was a distant maybe we'd never unpacked. What wedding? I laughed, assuming it was one of her odd jokes. Mom tilted her head, her hazel eyes narrowing like I'd missed the punchline. Your wedding, of course. You're not getting any younger, and Lily's family keeps asking when we'll set a date. Lily? The name hit me like a stray note in a song I didn't recognize. Then it clicked. Lily, the daughter of Mom's best friend, Claire. I hadn't seen her since we were kids, forced into awkward playdates while our moms sipped wine and swapped gossip. She was a blurry memory, all pigtails and polite hellos, nothing more. You're serious? I asked, waiting for her to crack a smile. She didn't. She just speared a carrot and kept eating, like she'd announced the weather instead of my future. Of course I'm serious, she said. We've been planning this since you were little. Lily's perfect for you, her family's got money, status, everything. It's a good match. My jaw dropped. Planning this since I was little? What did that even mean? I glanced at Dad, hoping for backup, but he just stared at his plate, tracing circles in his gravy. The story spilled out like she'd rehearsed it. When I was 9, she and Claire had cooked up this grand idea over coffee, a pact to marry their kids someday, merging our families into some dynastic fantasy. Lily's dad owned a chain of hardware stores and Mom saw dollar signs, a cushy future she could claim credit for. Nobody told me, I said, voice tight. She waved a hand. You didn't need to know until now. Trust me, it's for your own good. I sat there, food forgotten, as the room spun. My whole life Mom had pushed me, straight A's, the right college, a stable job. I chalked it up to parental ambition, but this was a script I'd never signed up for. She started rattling off details, venue ideas, a summer date, even a color scheme, navy and gold apparently, like it was already decided. You're destined for this, she said, beaming. It's our family's legacy. I couldn't speak. Legacy? This wasn't my dream, it was hers, and she'd been building it behind my back for nearly 2 decades. As she cleared the table, humming to herself, I realized this wasn't just intense, it was insane. And I had no idea how to stop it. The days after Mom's announcement felt like walking through a fog I couldn't shake. Her words looped in my head, Lily, wedding, legacy, like a song stuck on repeat. I hadn't told Mia yet. How do you even start that conversation? She knew Mom could be a lot, always calling to check in, always with an opinion, but this was next level. I kept hoping it'd blow over, that Mom would laugh it off as some nostalgic whim. Instead, she doubled down. It was a week later when she called me at work, her voice chipper through the static. Lily and her parents are coming over Saturday, she said. We'll break the news properly, get the ball rolling. My stomach sank. Mom, I haven't agreed to anything, I protested. She sighed, sharp and impatient. Don't be difficult. This is happening. Before I could argue, she hung up, leaving me staring at my desk, heart pounding. Saturday loomed like a guillotine. When the day arrived, I was a wreck. I'd barely slept, replaying every pushy moment of my childhood, Mom's insistence on family values, her subtle digs at anyone I dated. Mia was still in the dark, and I felt like a coward for not telling her. The doorbell rang at 6 sharp, and in walked Lily and her parents, Claire and Tom, all smiles and handshakes. Lily looked different, taller, with short brown hair and a nervous edge, but still a stranger. She gave me a small wave, her eyes darting away. Claire hugged Mom like they'd won the lottery while Tom clapped me on the shoulder. Big night, huh? He said. I forced a grin while rising. Dinner was torture. Mom dominated the table, dropping hints like breadcrumbs, venues she'd scouted, a guest list she'd roughed out. Claire chimed in about Lily's elegant taste, while Tom nodded along. Lily barely spoke, picking at her food, her discomfort mirroring mine. I kept waiting for a chance to object, but every time I opened my mouth, Mom steamrolled me with another detail. Then my phone buzzed, Mia's name flashing on the screen. Before I could grab it, Mom snatched it up, her smile vanishing. "He's busy," she snapped into the receiver, then hung up. My blood ran cold. "That was rude," I said, voice shaking. She shrugged. "You don't need distractions tonight." That was the breaking point. After they left, Lily muttering a quiet, "Nice to see you," I cornered Mom in the kitchen. "What if I don't want to marry Lily?" I asked. Her face hardened, eyes like steel. "Don't be selfish. This is about family, not just you." She launched into a tirade, how she'd sacrificed everything, how Lily's wealth would secure us, how I'd thank her later. I pushed back. "I don't even know her." She scoffed. "You'll learn. You think Mia can give you what Lily can? Be realistic." Guilt twisted in my gut. Had Lily been in on this? Was I the asshole here? Later, I went to Dad, who was nursing a beer in the den. "Did you know about this?" I asked. He sighed, avoiding my eyes. "Your mom's always had big plans. I thought she'd ease up." No help there. I left, head spinning, and drove straight to Mia's. She opened the door, concern etched on her face after Mom's call. "What's going on?" she asked. I took a deep breath and spilled it all, the pact, the dinner, the phone grab. Her eyes widened, then softened. "What do you want?" she asked. For the first time I knew the answer. Not this. Not Mom's script. I just had to figure out how to fight it. Mia's question echoed in my head all night. What did I want? By morning the answer was clear. Her. Not Lily, not Mom's grand design, but Mia, the woman who'd stood by me through late-night doubts and quiet victories. I couldn't let Mom steamroll that. Over coffee at her tiny apartment, I told her everything. The pact's absurdity, the dinner disaster, my growing dread. She listened, her hazel eyes steady, then squeezed my hand. "We'll figure it out," she said. That "we" lit something in me. I wasn't alone in this. That weekend I planned it out. No grand gestures, Mia hated flash, just us somewhere real. Sunday morning, I took her to the pier where we'd had our first date, the salty breeze tugging at our clothes. We'd laughed over burnt hot dogs that day, her teasing me for my terrible grilling skills. Now, I led her to the same bench, my heart hammering. "Mia," I started, fumbling with the ring I'd grabbed from a pawn shop. Simple, silver, perfect. "I don't care what my mom wants. I want you. Will you marry me?" Her laugh broke the tension, bright and surprised, then she nodded, tears in her eyes. "Yes, you idiot." "Yes." We kissed, the world shrinking to just us, and for a moment I could breathe. The high didn't last. I knew I had to tell Mom, and Monday night I braced myself. She was in the living room, flipping through a bridal magazine, navy and gold swatches circled in pen. "Mom, we need to talk," I said, voice steady. She glanced up, expectant, like I'd finally come around. "I proposed to Mia. We're getting married." The magazine hit the floor. Her face twisted, shock then rage. "You what?" she hissed. "After everything I've done for you?" She launched into me, voice rising with every word. "Selfish. Ungrateful. You're throwing away a future I built for you." She jabbed a finger at me. "Lily's family is counting on this. Do you know what this means?" I stood my ground. "It means nothing to me. I love Mia." Her eyes flashed. "Love? That girl's manipulating you, she'll drag you down. Lily's the smart choice." She paced, venom spilling. "I sacrificed my life for you, and this is how you repay me? You'll regret this, mark my words." It wasn't just anger, there was fear there, a crack in her armor, like she was losing something bigger than me. I left, her threat ringing in my ears. Dad caught me at the door, his voice low. "She's upset, but she'll cool off." I doubted it. Back at Mia's, I told her everything, her arms around me as I vented. "She's scared," Mia said softly. "She's losing control and she hates it." It made sense, but it didn't ease the knot in my chest. Mom's words, regret, sacrifice, gnawed at me. Had I misjudged this? Was I torching something I couldn't rebuild? Tuesday I called Lily. Awkward as hell, but I had to know. "Did you want this?" I asked. She sighed. No. My mom's been pushing it forever. I've got someone else. I just didn't know how to say no. Relief hit me hard. We were both pawns in this, not enemies. That night, Mia and I mapped our next move. Something small, hours away from Mom's reach. A courthouse wedding, maybe. But as I lay awake, Mom's threat loomed. She wasn't done. I'd defied her and she'd make me pay. I just didn't know how yet. Mom's silence after our blowout was deafening. No calls, no texts, just a void that felt more ominous than her rants. I should have known it was a trap. A week later, Mia came home from her nursing job, face pale. "Someone's been calling the hospital," she said, voice trembling. "Anonymous complaints saying I'm unreliable, unprofessional. They're reviewing my shifts." My stomach dropped. Mia was a rock star at work. Patients adored her. This wasn't random. "It's her," I said, certainty sinking in. Mom was hitting where it hurt. We dug into it. A coworker tipped Mia off. The complaints echoed Mom's style, all vague guilt trips about standards. No proof, but I knew. I called Mom, furious. "Are you messing with Mia's job?" She laughed, cold and sharp. "I don't know what you're talking about. Maybe she's not as perfect as you think." She hung up, leaving me fuming. That was it. We were done playing defense. Mia and I decided to elope. A courthouse wedding with just our friends Jake and Tara as witnesses. No fanfare, no chance for Mom to meddle. We set it for Friday, a quiet vow to take back our lives. The day came fast. At the courthouse, Mia looked radiant in a simple white dress, her smile cutting through my nerves. Jake grinned, snapping photos while Tara adjusted Mia's hair. We stood before the clerk, hands clasped, ready to start. Then my phone buzzed, a text from my cousin Nate. "Your mom knows. Get out." My pulse spiked. Before I could react, the doors crashed open. Mom stormed in, Lily and her parents trailing behind like a bad movie scene. "You're making a mistake," Mom shouted, voice echoing off the walls. "Mia's ruining everything." Claire, Lily's mom, started sobbing, pleading. "Think of the family, please." Lily hung back, eyes wide, mortified. Mom pointed at Mia. "She's a homewrecker, stealing your future." I froze, that old fear creeping in, the kid who couldn't say no to her. Mia stepped forward, calm as steel. "We're here because we love each other," she said, locking eyes with Mom. "You don't get to take that away, not you, not anyone." Her words snapped me out of it. Mom blinked, faltering, her control slipping. Then Lily spoke, voice quiet but firm. "I don't want this either. I've been with someone else for months. I'm done pretending." The room stilled. Claire gasped, clutching Tom's arm. Mom's jaw tightened, but she said nothing. Lily turned to me. "I'm sorry, I didn't know how to stop it." I nodded, a strange bond forming. We'd both been caged by this. Claire broke into louder sobs, Tom pulling her back while Mom just stood there, deflated. For once she had no comeback. She turned and walked out, Claire and Tom following, leaving silence in their wake. Jake let out a low whistle. That was wild. Tara laughed, shaky. Mom's exit didn't feel like surrender. Back home, Mia and I crashed, adrenaline fading. "She's not done," I said. Mia nodded. "We'll handle it, together." Lily texted later, apologizing again, saying she told her boyfriend everything. I felt for her. We both dodged a bullet. But Mom's next move hung over us, a storm brewing. We'd defied her and she'd make us pay. I just didn't know how ugly it'd get. After Mom's courthouse meltdown, Mia and I didn't waste time. We rescheduled for the next Friday, same plan, courthouse, Jake and Tara, no frills. I half expected her to crash again, but the day came quiet. No texts from Nate, no doors slamming open. Just us in that sterile room, Mia's hand warm in mine, her smile steady as we said our vows. "I do," she said, voice clear. "I do," I echoed, meaning it more than anything. The clerk nodded, Jake hooped, Tara snapped a blurry photo, and that was it. We were married. No drama, just us, and it felt like stealing a win from the chaos. We grabbed burgers after, the four of us crammed into a booth at our favorite diner. Mia laughed as Jake recounted Mom's exit, like a soap opera villain, cape and all. Tara toasted us with a fry. "To you too, screw the haters." For the first time in weeks, I relaxed, the weight lifting. Mia leaned into me, her head on my shoulder, and I thought maybe we'd outrun Mom's storm. Back home we sprawled on the couch, still in our courthouse clothes, basking in the calm. "We did it," she said, grinning. "Yeah," I said, kissing her. "We really did. That weekend Lily called. I heard you went through with it. Congrats," she said, sounding lighter. "I owe you one. After that mess I told my boyfriend everything. We're good now." She paused. "I'm sorry for all of it. I told her it wasn't her fault. We'd both been stuck in our mom's game." "You're free now," I said. "So am I." She laughed, relieved. "Take care, okay?" It was weird, feeling that kinship with someone I barely knew, but it fit. We'd both clawed our way out. For a few days it held, the peace, the quiet. No calls from Mom, no cryptic threats. I started to think she'd given up, licked her wounds and moved on. Mia went back to work, her hospital review fading into a non-issue. Her supervisor laughed it off, calling the complaints nonsense. We talked about a honeymoon, something small, maybe a cabin upstate. I let myself believe we'd won, that love had trumped Mom's madness. Mia hummed around the apartment, sketching plans, and I felt like I could breathe again. But it was too good to last. Monday my phone buzzed, a text from Aunt Sue. "Call me. Your mom's spinning some wild stuff." Then Uncle Ray, "What's this about you abandoning us?" My gut twisted. I called Sue, who sighed. "She's telling everyone you ditched the family, that Mia's a gold digger. Half the cousins believe her." I hung up, hands shaking. Mia found me pacing. "She's at it again," I said, showing her the texts. She frowned, but her resolve didn't waver. "Let her talk. We've got this." That night we sat on the balcony, city lights flickering below. "She'll keep coming," I said, voice low. Mia nodded. "Maybe. But she can't touch us, not really." She was right. Mom could scream, scheme, whatever, but we had each other, legal and real. The wedding was ours, not hers. Still, I couldn't shake the feeling of a shadow creeping closer. She'd lost the battle, but Mom didn't do defeat quietly. I pulled Mia close, savoring the moment, knowing we'd need this strength. Whatever she threw next, we'd face it, together. For now, love had won, and that was enough. The peace shattered Tuesday night. Mia came home from the hospital, eyes red, hands trembling. "They pulled me into HR today," she said, voice breaking. "Someone called, said I'm unstable, unfit to nurse. They're investigating again." I froze, rage bubbling up. This wasn't coincidence. Mom's fingerprints were all over it. I called her, no preamble. "Are you behind this?" She didn't flinch. "You made your choice. You'll see I'm right someday." No denial, just that smug certainty. I slammed the phone down, done with her games. Mia sank onto the couch and I knelt beside her. "We're ending this," I said. She nodded, fierce. "How?" Something had never added up. Mom's obsession with Lily went beyond family pride. It felt calculated, cold. I started digging. Wednesday I went to my parents' house while Mom was out. Dad was in his office, hunched over bills. "I need answers," I said, no room for his usual dodge. He sighed, waved me in. I rummaged through old files, tax returns, letters, until I found it, a yellowed contract signed by Mom and Claire. My hands shook as I read. It wasn't a pact, it was a deal. Claire's family would pay Mom $250,000 if I married Lily, a merger with a clause. Mom guaranteed it'd happen no matter what. This was a transaction, not a legacy. I shoved it at Dad. "Did you know?" His face crumpled. "I heard them talk about security, but this? No." He begged me to keep it quiet. "It'll destroy us." But she'd already tried to destroy Mia's career, twice. I called a family meeting that night, everyone, Sue, Ray, cousins, even Claire and Tom. Mom strutted in, smirking, thinking I'd cave. I didn't. I stood in the living room, contract in hand, and read it aloud, every greedy word. Gasps rippled through. Claire's face drained. Tom gripped her arm. "You sold him?" Sue snapped at Mom. I kept going, Mom's lies to the family, her attacks on Mia's job. "She didn't care about me," I said. "Just the cash." Chaos erupted. Claire screamed at Mom, "You ruined us." Ray demanded explanations. Mom tried to spin it, it was for stability. But the paper didn't lie. I held it up, black and white proof of her betrayal. Cousins whispered, Sue shook her head, and Claire stormed out, Tom trailing. Mom's smirk was gone, her eyes wide, cornered. She grabbed her purse and bolted, no defense left. Silence settled, heavy. Sue hugged me. You didn't deserve this. Ray nodded. She's gone too far. Lily texted later. Thank you. Mom's a mess, but I'm free now, my boyfriend too. I replied, same here. The family split. Some sided with Mom, others with me, but I didn't care. Mia's investigation cleared the next day. Her boss apologized, embarrassed. We moved an hour away, a fresh start. Mom vanished, no calls, no sightings. Sue said she's holed up, licking wounds. A few relatives pushed me to reach out, but I'm done. I'd spent 27 years under her thumb, chasing her approval. No more. Mia and I built our life. Small apartment, quiet nights, plans for that cabin trip. Cutting ties hurt, a dull ache, but it's freedom too. For the first time, I'm living for me, for us. Mom's deception was the last straw, but it gave me clarity. She'd lost not just the money but me. And I'd won something better, a life I chose.